you don't actually have it first. Yeah. Okay.
So, do we need to provide clarification about that, or?
I don't know.
You know. Maybe communicate with. Oh. Did I just borrow that from you?
Or we can just keep it more executive.
You guys ready to rock and roll?
Yep.
At least rock.
All right, perfect. Well, if everyone's ready, we'll call to order the Governance Strategy and City Operations Committee meeting for December 6th. And we'll start off with a roll call, please.
Councilor Kretzer?
Here.
Mayor Reed?
Present.
Councilor Armstrong?
Here.
Councilor Dowell?
Here.
Councilor Ensel?
Here.
All right, fantastic. Well, we'll get things started with anyone who might be at the meeting tonight who'd like to address the committee. Is there anyone that would like to address the committee tonight?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to number 2, the reports from department representatives and discussions. Let's see here. Are there any specific reports from any department heads?
Looks like we've got one from the city clerk's office.
Okay, is it something that the clerk wants to present, or is it just the regular?
Is it just that? Is it
Yeah, it's just the 10,000.
No, that's
Okay.
No, okay.
That's just my revenues for the.
All right.
But I do want to say that I'm in the final stages going over the final draft, the general code that needs to be submitted back to general code by January 9th, almost to where I'm ready for Dean to review my analysis of it, and then I think we have plenty of time to do that.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Wonderful. Anybody have any questions? No? All right, number 2 then, report from city planner to establish the traffic zone designation. Is there a report, or does anyone have anything they'd like to report on this?
That one I'm
Or
familiar with.
is
I
that
didn't notice it when I looked over the
Wow.
agenda earlier.
So this would be Eva's domain?
Yes.
Okay.
So I can speak to her tomorrow.
All right. So I didn't receive a report. Did I miss it? What, was it? Oh, gosh.
What is that? Do you have a copy of that?
Well, this is a kind of a unique situation where if a city planner makes a traffic zone designation, the determination she's required to go to the chief of police to get his input, and then put it as a report on the agenda. If no action is taken on it, then it's deemed approved.
Okay.
But if the council doesn't want to approve it, then we need to disapprove it or explicitly delay action on it.
Just want to read what
Dean, could you repeat the beginning of that? I didn't catch the beginning.
I missed
If-
it.
In order to make a traffic zone determination, the city planner has to make the recommendation, which he puts into a report. That's what it's currently in front of you. Before it makes it to this agenda, she had to
Go to the
get
police
input from the
chief.
chief, who I presume opined. I think here he just wanted that he had no objections. I'm just saying, if it's on the agenda and you approve it, then it's approved.
Okay.
So it's not something that we could just kick off unless you want to explicitly disapprove it.
And I'll just read what
Thank
the
you.
actual
So,
order is.
but we could, if we needed some more information or
Then
so
you-
on,
then
we
I'm
could
saying-
vote it down and then bring it back again?
Exactly, yeah. I'm just saying if you just passed it through, then it would be.
It can't be tabled or?
Yeah.
And it reads, this establishes a 20-mile-per-hour school zone on Robinson Terrace between Oak Street and Margaret Street, and on Elm Street between Oak Street and Margaret, because there are pedestrian outlets from the school on both streets.
Yes.
Mhm.
Good.
And Chief, you've been consulted?
Absolutely no objection.
Sounds like a plan.
There there are not that many homes, I don't believe, on Robinson Terrace that, I mean, it's gonna greatly impact, but it's not about the homes, it's about the safety.
Exactly. Okay.
All right, any other questions? I guess moving on, council will continue the 2019 budget sessions with final questions and discussions.
I suggest that we move this aside for now and go on to 3.
Agreed.
Okay. So then as far as agenda items, does anyone have any specific questions about any of the agenda items?
I guess regarding 3.1, there are sufficient enough funds in the parking lot fund?
The question is, how is it getting paid for?
Rich just got here, you can answer.
Rich, the parking lot fund, the 500K, that's being advanced from
That'll be advanced internally.
internal.
There's no 500,000 in the market.
Right, that was my question.
120,000 right now, roughly.
So what do you mean?
The last report I sent you last week. 120, 130, so we'll have to borrow it internally.
And how specifically does that happen?
Just an interfund transfer.
Okay,
We keep track of the interest and pay it back.
okay.
Probably it'll be financed long-term. Next year, start to do a ban on a bond issue analysis.
But if it's getting financed long-term, the thought is that won't really be necessary when all is said and done, that there'd be other revenues coming in to cover the cost of that lot.
Could
That's-
be to pay it off quickly,
Could be,
more quickly than, say, a 15-year serial bond issue.
right?
But it has to be paid back within a year on an internal borrowing
From when?
from an outside, well.
No, date-wise,
Yeah,
time-wise?
within a year of, this week, let's say.
Is that hopeful? Is that,
Sure, we can do a ban to close in, say, November, to provide that $500,000 to pay it back internally.
And those additional revenue considerations to the parking fund will be part of the deliberations of the parking advisory committee and the council as the new parking program is implemented over the next year.
and to satisfy public interest, could we disclose how the purchase price was determined?
That was through negotiations, primarily through me directly, and Matt Miller directly with the seller. We made an offer, went back and forth, and they accepted it.
How much back and forth was there?
We had an initial meeting, after the first Carl Walker study was released, they actually approached the city because they saw that their parcel was proximate to one of the potential parking options. So that was the jumping off point. After that, we met internally, decided on a figure which we thought was attractive to the city, and I took the lead on negotiating with them. I can't remember, it was 2 or 3 conversations over the phone, and then memorialized it in email. And they had to review it with their either executive committee or real estate committee, I forget who, on their end, and they accepted it.
Okay. And I believe the assessment is considerably more, is it not?
Yeah, the assessed value is 800 plus.
808, I think it is.
808.
808, yep. And tax producing revenue off that, that's off full assessment right now, 808? Is that what they're paying taxes on?
On the assessed value? Yeah, that's correct, isn't that right?
Commercial assessment too.
Okay.
So 808 times $12 a thousand.
Pardon?
808 times $12 a thousand roughly is what they're paying right now for property tax.
9,000 and change.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? I guess I'll make a motion to move 1 through 8 onto the agenda for this evening.
Second.
We do a roll call?
Mayor Reed?
Yes.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes. Is there any old business?
Yes, I'd like to bring up a couple items, and Josh, and I hope you'll help me with this discussion. There are 2 things I'd like to bring forward. One is just kind of an update on our discussions with OpenGov, the strategic planning software that we've been reviewing over a good deal of time, actually. And according to our sales rep, David Spoladaro, okay, he talked to Eva about some of her concerns regarding how this software would help her with her various funds that she supervises, such as the revolving loan fund, etc., grants. And he characterized that conversation as positive. I'm going to follow up with Eva. And he has some further business he'd like to conduct with the Chamberlain. We're going to be hopefully meeting with them within the next week or so. The thing I'll say is that generally speaking, everyone who's been part of the conversation has had favorable things to say about the potential for this software. We're just weighing now our own readiness, and you know, whether it's budgetarily or just in terms of our ability to designate the manpower necessary to implement it. So we're still in discussion. You want to add anything?
Councilor?
Well, it's just, I think it's been a nice process.
Josh, can I interrupt for a second? Sorry, I apologize. Just as a procedural matter, these agenda items get bounced forward to the agenda, so there's no action taken on any of those items that we just passed forward. But because of the mayor's role with the Glens Falls Board of Directors, he should actually abstain from voting on that particular point.
Oh, okay.
So
Just
it's
number one?
Just number 131, so I know we did it as a kind of combined.
Okay.
Just because I don't want any issues, can we,
Would you like me to read it?
I guess, frankly, you could abstain from that one. I think you'll still have the votes to push it onto the agenda, so maybe just negate that vote, re-vote it.
Okay, for that particular item.
Yeah, I apologize.
Okay,
Sure.
so then, so we just negate that one vote for 131?
Yes, and then
Okay.
re-vote on that one.
So I'd like to make a motion to move 3-1 onto the agenda this evening.
Second.
You should announce it.
Roll call or discussion? No, okay.
All right.
Ready for the roll call?
Yeah.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
Mayor Reed?
Abstain.
Thank you, sorry about that.
No problem.
Thank you, Dean.
So you want to add anything about OpenGov?
I was just going to say that, throughout the entire process, they gave us their initial pitch, which sounded very enticing, but then we've had multiple stages of back and forth with different department supervisors who would be directly affected, and also, had a lot of questions of their own. So it's just nice that they've been very receptive to, open lines of communication, and it almost seems as if they're kind of designing new ways to make OpenGov work for Plattsburgh. And I think they kind of create their own, systems kind of within the software for each municipality depending on their need. So, the conversations are continuing, and so far, it's, I think, been a very positive response from the Chamberlain's office and community development. So it's nice that it's an ongoing conversation. And we'll just keep updating everyone as we have more information.
And the other thing I wanted to bring forward was I forwarded you an email from Ryan Brienza. And it included his proposal for the possibility of using cryptocurrency mining operations to heat buildings. But this isn't the first kind of reminder that we need to address the question of whether or not we want to end the moratorium. I believe that came up last week. And so we're at the point at which I think we could have a little bit of a discussion and take our temperature in terms of where we are. If we were to be stuck still on the question of whether or not we want to adjust any requirements, noise ordinance, etc., this might be another time to have it. I've asked Dean to kind of summarize what our options might be, whether or not to just, well, I'll just turn it over to Dean.
Sure, thank you. So this question was also posed to me from Councilor McFarland a few days ago, and my conclusion was there are two options. One option would be to rely on what existing noise controls we have in our code currently, and the second option would be to amend either the cryptocurrency law or an overarching zoning code section to implement some of the language that the mayor had circulated. If we turn back to the first option, which was rely on what we have currently, where there's 3 sections that control noise. One is within the zoning code, and it says that in any district, it's under general use standard, section 27029, in any district, you shall not create unreasonable or offensive noise at or beyond the property line. The second section, or the second code that we could rely on would be our general noise ordinance. That's generally more of a police or a neighbor function, but it has language similarly that you cannot create or cause unreasonable or offensive noise to be, a nuisance to your neighbors. The third section that we have on the books currently is within the cryptocurrency law itself, which has similar language saying that any cryptocurrency operation cannot cause unreasonable or offensive or nuisance level noise beyond the property line. And then that actually takes a step further and sets a decibel level of 90 decibels or greater would be in violation of the noise ordinance. So one big picture option would be just to rely on those 3 code sections. And in fact, Joe's office and I used that, the existing sections to deal with a complaint that was heard at, I forget the name of the apartment building, but across from by Imperial Dam, across from the river. And that was presumably satisfactory because part of it was seasonal because they were able to turn the fan off during the winter months. Part of it was they're going to mitigate the noise by baffling it and doing some kind of engineering on site. So one option again is rely on what we have in existence. In order to end the moratorium, it just requires a resolution. We don't have to do it with another local law. So it could be a pretty straightforward process to end it. If the council wasn't satisfied that that was adequate to deal with those nuisance concerns, then we could continue to explore what we have on the books, either through the zoning code, the noise ordinance, or the noise threshold in the cryptocurrency law itself.
So I guess I'm just polling you to see
Right,
where you stand at this point.
I personally, there are 2 concerns that I have with it. One was the noise. I think, Dean, correct me, 90 decibels is in the... Personally, for me, I would like to see at least, I'd like to see it brought down to 80 personally. But my other concern is the heat factor inside the building. And I believe, what was it, 97 degrees that it's set at as far as the interior temperature?
I haven't looked at it.
Colin, on your proposal.
But didn't we have
there
the
was an
opportunity to address that?
And, well, my question is, I think that needs to conform to whatever OSHA standards are. Because I don't know if OSHA allows what their standards are for interior temperature to work in.
Doesn't OSHA standards supersede anything we pass anyway? So if there is a standard,
but I would, yeah, I think we need to look at what their standards are.
Well, do we? Because they supersede us. Our standard cannot, probably is not, maybe isn't arguably
Well,
allowed to be stronger, but if it's
Wouldn't
weaker
it
than
be,
the
wouldn't
OSHA
it be
standard
worthwhile
applies.
then to have our standards coincide with OSHA's?
But then you're rewriting the local law, correct?
I
Whatever.
mean, it
your-
sounds like that's where you're headed. You want to rewrite the local law?
The proposal that you put forth had the, there was interior, besides the decibel level, there was also the,
I think
there was
it's
also,
local.
I think there was internal temperature also
Just to make
listed
sure we're on the
as
same
well.
page, so we adopted a local law 4 weeks ago on cryptocurrency mining, which had a temperature component and a noise component.
Right.
After that meeting, the mayor circulated a proposed noise ordinance, which just had a noise component, which was stricter than the
Right,
cryptocurrency law.
but I think that we should look at the internal temperature factor too. If the buildings that house these mining are going to be operating at 95, 97 degrees, and there are going to be people in there working, I think there's an issue there, but certainly an OSHA issue.
And I was wondering too about the fire department, where this places them in terms of a response, an internal response in terms of temperature. I didn't know if that was going to play into this or,
I don't get, what,
well, to send a fire department in. I mean, if it's 97 degrees or so to start and say there's a fire of sorts, or I'm just wondering where they're at with the response to go into such a situation, considering the
oh, how would
temperatures.
it, how would
That was
it
what part
impact?
of it was intended to address, so there's some external
'Cause-
shut-off requirements, and I believe the chief had looked over the proposed local law before, and he was, I can't quote him or speak for him, but he was satisfied that this was more protective of his fire people than what currently is allowed. Currently, there's no limits or restrictions on it.
Because the whole basis of the original was public health and safety, correct?
Yes.
Right.
That's the approach we took?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to propose that, that a meeting be called beginning of next week, at which we kind of hash out our concerns and come up with a solution. I think, as the mayor indicated, Councilor McFarland has also been pretty active in reviewing all of these questions. So I would be happy to facilitate such a meeting, and I'll get to you, try to send out an email to see how we can organize tomorrow. Okay?
Has the Crate Center been looked at for this proposal?
There's been no discussions whatsoever of any city location.
Because I thought in the letter, I think it said that they did toward the crate and,
I think they're interested in the Crate Center, but we haven't had any discussions to say that they could, or to explore whether they could. But I'm sure they've identified that as a prime location. I've said publicly there's a number of locations in the city that would be right for this kind of thing, including the field house, some public school gyms, etc. But we've by no way had any sort of negotiations on that. That'd be premature.
yeah, no, because I just, in the letter, I'm pretty sure it said that they had toured, Ryan or the company had toured the crate center and checked the location and also the electrical capacity and so on.
So is there any other old business? Any other questions? Any new business? I'm not sure, did Councilor Armstrong step away? I don't have any other new business. If we want to wait for Councilor Armstrong to return.
All right.
I guess, I'd just like to on another note, I guess maybe it could be new business. Just the holiday parade and tree lighting event was really wonderfly executed. Community Development Office did a fabulous job. Tara did a great job wrangling all of the parade participants, and it was the temperature was comfortable. People were saying that the only thing that was missing was just a light flurry, and other than that, it was perfect. They really enjoyed it. So kudos to community development, to Tara. Thank you so much for continuing this awesome tradition. Great publicity, and people came from all over. So thank you so much.
Yes, it was.
We did try to get that flurry in place, so I'm hoping next year we'll perfect that. But I would just like to jump in and thank all of our departments, DPW, police, fire, EMS, just did an amazing job. And the lineup in particular, it really is like burning giant electric cats. And if we didn't have PD in particular just being amazing that night, it would have gone differently. So thanks.
No, it was fabulous.
I would
Thank you so
agree,
much.
Chair. In fact, I said that it was one of the best parades I'd seen in the city of Plattsburgh in a while. There must be something about a nighttime parade. There's something about.
Lights, yeah.
But one question though, because somebody did ask me, because there was a point, and I know it's really hard having been involved in them before, a gap.
Yes.
There was a do we have marshals walking the route with them, or?
We did. We actually had 65 volunteers who were out, and some walking along, and some at key intersections, which we identified with PD. And I think we could even have more, amazingly. I mean, as you know, all of our parades are so different. This one, interestingly enough, I think you could have 100 parade marshals for this one. So I will say that there was one very significant gap, but what I did learn was that one of the floats actually had a mechanical difficulty that was sending it.
That explains it.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
crabbing. Yes, okay.
Exactly.
Oh, well. Well, Tara, what level of sponsorship would someone need to pay to get the snow next year?
And who was the winner of the float?
Town of Plattsburgh.
There you go.
Yep,
Good.
it was best float and best walking group was Empire Dance. So we
Oh,
put that
good.
on Facebook, and all of the first round of photos went up today as well, and they're really excellent photos, so I encourage everyone to check that out.
It was awesome. Thank you again. Councilor Armstrong, did you have any other new business?
No, I don't.
Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Roll call.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Mayor Reed?
Yes?
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Josh.
Josh.
Full entire work session, do you need the work session?
Well, do I need?
We've got a half hour, and we
Yeah.
don't have any need for an executive session tonight, we've covered much of what's on.
Right. The only outstanding item is the budget review, and I hate to do.
I'm still here.
without-
Oh, okay.
Without Mike here,
We
so,
can't see you.
so.
I know I blinked away for a minute.
Oh, okay.
You can just hold.
Taking a drink, right?
Yes.
Recess.
A hurricane?
Okay.
I'm on the tail end of a cold.
We're reluctant to have Mike's. This is your, budget committee. We could certainly have an answer, have a discussion if we want. On both homes, that works.
Oh. Fellas. You wanna?
Yeah, they brought that up.
I know, but they bring it, I went to Kevin Durant. I asked Kevin Durant a question about it, because it's been a long time. And he responded to me.
Hey, Matt, Matt?
So has the school district made that release?
Okay. All right, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So, shall I pass that along to my colleagues then? Yeah.
So I'm okay with that.
Okay.
But now it's Patrick on the committee too.
Stipulations about the rest.
You're the one I want to list. So.
Did you talk to your person up at
Council that has an extra
We're gonna bring that in a minute, because I'm at work session, so I'll call the meeting to order, and then we'll go into recess.
So I just want to let you know.
We're gonna have to go into executive session. No? Okay.
Is this everything?
So when we had our meetings for the Christmas holiday, the regular Thursday, since they fall on a Tuesday? Tuesday, 25th.
Has the meeting been approved? There's no meeting right now. That's a recess.
Okay. So we have it, no, that's the 20th, yeah. So we'll meet the 20th and we won't convene again until after.
We've ended the committee meeting and we're just posting to the work session. Yeah, go ahead.
Begin the work session tonight. I think we've got a lot of the work done in the committee meeting, but if there's anything else you'd like to spend some extra time on, or any need for an executive session, we can do that at this time. The legal counsel sees no need for an executive session tonight. Any extended discussion you'd like to have? Seeing none, I guess we'll be in recess until 5:30 then.
Okay.
Thank you. Second, just looking to fill a senior playgrounds.
Or is it still over there?
Got through the manager stuff, killer stuff.
You guys are fine. Yeah.
So when would be a good time to meet? We should probably ask Patrick.
Let me see, I have exams. I have an exam Monday at 2:30, Tuesday at 12:30, and Thursday at 8 o'clock.
So why don't we try for Monday morning? And I'll ask Patrick if he's available.
Do you have a time on Monday?
No, whenever, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I have a meeting on Monday, I just have to check on. I gotta get to my calendar, my phone's screwed up. I can't get my one account here.
November's over.
You
You didn't notice it's Saturday. You weren't even.
I
saw
didn't.
James. I saw James.
Yeah.
This week. Hey, I had a lot of fun on Saturday. Yeah. I said, how, he goes, yeah, there was a lot of sleeping in the Armstrong household Sunday
Oh,
morning.
God, yes. I stayed up till like 3.
Oh, wow. That was a lot of
We
fun.
all came home and just
I had a really
kidding
nice
around.
conversation with Jamie and your son-in-law, like the first time I met him. Because thank you so much for what you're doing.
What?
Just thank you so much for what you're doing with my brother.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, Monday.
I don't know.
Okay.
I have a meeting on Monday morning and I can't remember when it is. And the email that it's contained in, I can't access. So I'll get to you tomorrow.
I was looking at that.
It's the golden hair. If they were going to let us in or
Yeah. Okay, that sounds reasonable.
What do you say?
And that's at, did I say 90 or? Yeah, that's at 90.
Hey,
So
Patrick.
4 times.
At the committee meeting, I brought up the idea of having
Like Alka-Seltzer?
tranquilizers. But I suggested that you, I, and Peter meet Monday. He has a final at 2 something, but to try to put our heads together to see what to do concerning the moratorium.
My position on it is we pass legislation. It's just again was to keep it unless there's something else we want to do.
Right. He keeps bringing up noise. He's still considering noise.
I still think
as an
90 is too
issue.
high, and I think we need to look at the internal living temperature.
But you know what, see, here's the thing. I think that discussion is, like, kind of like,
related to the moratorium.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, I mean, that is definitely related to the moratorium, so, I mean, if we come up with something that changes that, then I'd be more than willing to take the moratorium off. I would support lifting it.
I was wondering if they're going to fire programs right away. But I was happy they bought dessert.
Trial started.
Okay.
But I'm free after 5.
What about after 5? I don't.
Yeah, okay. Monday
Let's
after
go
5.
have a beer.
Yeah, let's meet it.
What? Where do you want to meet? Okay. All the red lights. All the red lights. All right. Excellent.
Thank you.
They're almost a week since I got there.
5 o'clock?
We had a good time at that party. My highlight was the appearance of Mr. Trump.
Did I?
Wasn't much of a party then, was it?
You know, the funny part about it is, after we sang, I had no idea. After we sang, he said, okay, grab the mic and just get Rochelle and tell her you got a special guest coming. Okay. I had no idea what it was.
But he did it.
And he came a long way just to see him move. I had no idea.
That was awesome.
And it wasn't Willard Scott. Willard used to call the people.
Well, thank you guys for coming. That really
that was
meant
fun.
a lot
Well,
to me.
It was fun. I saw a lot of people I hadn't seen in a long time.
Like who?
I always called that out. Because Kim said, you know, that was the chorus piano person from college.
Oh, Joellen Mian.
Joellen. I hadn't seen her in a long time. Paul. Sarah.
We should talk about this.
Because he looks like a turtle.
Oh, yeah, he's just,
Sarah.
well,
I think they were just making it decorative.
Can we discuss that more? Sounds like I don't want
Charles and May 6th.
I mean, we've already. Because I think I may need to still be persuaded.
That's fine, I just,
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
Why? Because the approval is finalized for the deed, which I thought it was a baked potato.
No.
I was going to pass the hot potato.
That's not what you think it is.
You are this water.
Absolutely. Disappointed.
Somebody else is very pleased with her call to the outsourced. We have to figure out what to do. She's such a good worker. She was just, I mean, the money's better because they pay more. So she was singing so red in her mouth.
We should be staying there for the time.
Yeah, I think she knew that it was a little bit of a long stay.
That's great.
feel bad. She's definitely happier upstairs. She wouldn't be there. Pays more, and we still have an avenue. Oh, well, I'm gonna talk to her and let her know that. She does with a smile all the time too. I abstain. I got it. Josh's strike picture up there.
No. Yeah. Looks like a really jaunty pose.
Yes.
Women, for those little profile pictures, always seem to look better than guys. Guys are very awkward looking, sitting in front of the computer.
Not Josh.
Not Josh wouldn't be like that. He'd be styling.
He knows how to do a proper headshot. So I'm a little confused about funding for Burns Falls. If we're going to borrow from internally, exactly.
I don't know the details of Burns Falls. Dean would probably know more, but what I imagine is more from the slush fund we have with the compost fund, $2 million.
Is Rich going to be back?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think there'll be.
You know what?
And so, but now help me remember. Was funding discussed at the outset of doing this? I can't remember. Yeah. Okay. All right.
I do know that Ethan and Matt are working up a community law for the whole thing.
Yeah.
He's happy to share it with you. It's a work in progress still. It's one of those things that the committee you're forming is going to consider.
Right.
So they got the full hours on likely Burns Falls. Actually acquiring another property that probably will work in but next building across the street from all the
Yeah.
That's for sale. But it's smaller. Across Marion. Across that side mall.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Chiropractors or sports medicine.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's where Arrow's at.
Yeah. But I think, I would imagine, I'm just guessing, I don't think they had a conversation with the guys. I do know each one told me that they approached them. I would guess they want 300,000 to 400,000. It's almost as much as they think.
Relatively speaking, that seems preposterous,
Yeah.
doesn't it? But what about any further discussions? How's that going?
It's kind of like the church that found here wasn't very enthusiastic about it unless we actually started charging some sort of
Because
reinforcing. I think they're going to be much more.
Chief,
But,
Okay.
I believe their approach is just to see what we can do, even if we don't have cooperation, how much spots can we get out of the Glens Falls or out of the Court Street area and make that all parking, and see how far we are along to meeting that goal of 289 spots.
Did
And then if others work with us, then we should be
was there actually active vandalism at the Presbyterian
But feel
Church?
free to talk to Ethan about it, 'cause it's kind of going through your committee, right? The whole parking thing is and some planning things, so.
All right.
So we have 5 people for the parking.
Probably
5
no.
very self-serving.
One is
One's
appointment
there.
meeting.
So we need 3 more before it starts. The governance.
You need 7 to start it.
You guys are putting forth that.
Not yet. We haven't been able to think of anybody yet, but we brainstormed with the mayor and
I don't know.
big powwow people. Matt, what do you call them?
Strategic strategy committee.
So I think I've got a name or two.
What's her name?
I needed reminding of what our domain was, but mayor thinks it's disability community, so I'll go through Robert Poland's office. I'll get that done. I'll get that done for next week.
I think you guys also post just the
I used to stop and tell her.
Right,
and
a
I worked with
resident
you.
downtown, okay?
Okay. Oh,
So
yeah.
I've got ideas.
I
I think we should be able to wrap it up, but
I think we have,
what did Matt say though about the timing of the committee?
as soon as there's 7 people, that's a quorum.
It's in her blood.
He was expect much out of them between Christmas and New Year's.
Listen though, so Matt was concerned that we don't want to appoint too soon. Because then it would be required
Say no more.
holidays.
I think you have to do
All right,
it
thanks.
really quickly or there's not that much of a hurry.
Right.
Yeah,
And how many days after?
I think it's like 2 weeks or something.
2 weeks.
I'll have to look at the resolution again.
You can't meet for 2 weeks afterwards, after 2 weeks of the.
We need to appoint a member from the common council. Maybe we should wait till the new year.
I'd recommend, not to Matt, but I'd recommend appointing the committee before
Like the
before
20th.
once the committee gets back, you can start meeting in those 2 weeks.
Right, so try to have all the appointments done by the 20th. Okay.
Did that send an updated schedule of the holiday?
That was our holidays for next year. That- Okay.
Telling Tracy's gonna hire a nice young woman. Finance experience.
Yeah, we're gonna ask that tonight.
Don't be replacing Kelly. Kelly's been a great contact.
What?
And right now they have 2 clerks. He thinks he can replace them just 1 clerk.
That's a really,
I'm very glad that Kelly doesn't want to come back now.
yes.
Want Domino's telling me he's got a colony right next
Well,
door.
it's just gravy, right?
Yeah, she's amazing.
Let me know when you discuss it.
Okay. Odd location.
As he said, his neighbor.
This could be a short meeting.
Yeah, it could be.
It's good, I hope it is, because I'm really tired. And Mike, I wonder
is holding up mine.
Kelly, he's sick tonight.
She's.
Mike Kelly's sick tonight.
No. Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
That's extremely difficult. Okay. I don't have that.
No, you know what?
So we're gonna meet Peter, Patrick, and I. 5 o'clock.
My cat's on the outside.
So,
I don't want a cat anymore.
Yeah, like I said, I got no problem beefing up the noise ordinance. I just see it separate from the.
yeah, and I'm interested in my order now that is also raising temperature.
Yeah, I think what would covers that. Any federal law obviously supersedes anything
Right.
we choose.
Well, it'd be helpful to know that.
I want to have a conversation with Dean about that.
Okay.
For you.
Kidney failure. So I've been very careful since that happened. And that's the last we saw of Mr. Books.
Where
Cuts my hair. And she has.
don't let my wife see.
Oh, okay.
Do not let my
Well-
wife see puppies.
Oh,
She's got
10 of them. Last time I had 11. It was but it was just something to see. She was a kid.
I
It was
told,
like a petting zoo.
I told Carly if we get a pet, our next pet will be a dog.
Well, you know. Yeah, it's get a falcon.
Or a falcon. Bald eagle.
They are, you know, there's pros and cons.
Rochelle, did you? You were looking. You wanted to say something?
I have no idea. Oh, Mike's sick.
I don't have a handy. My only question is whether this is just part of one thing or not. It's not.
This one is much bigger. There's no multiple.
Hey, Matt. Matt, I just let John know and he's fine with that.
Unless it's a sole source item. Probably not.
Actually, I took over there. I was in E-Town today. Well, today I was in E-Town, then in Clinton, and then yesterday I was in E-Town in the morning. Sometimes it is, sometimes we'll have the license and DSS up here.
This is Apple Project.
Sometimes they do, but originally if there's an open.
So we're down, after that order there, we're down to big boy.
I just think some sort of I've had clients that are
Dean, will you be able to talk about, if Richard doesn't come back, about the funding sources for Glenn's Hall?
Crash ask Rich. He do, I want to adjust this.
Okay.
Oh, I could see that.
TikTok. Okay.
After that first phone call, we decided keep the picking out. We were pulling out was locked in the house. We called the post.
All of a sudden, I can't get service here. I've been able to, log into the public, agree, and now that icon, that possibility doesn't, not on my computer or on my phone. It says unsecure, not insecure, unsecure.
Begin our council meeting tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Reed?
Present.
Councilor Armstrong?
Here.
Councilor Kelly? Councilor Dowdle?
Here.
Councilor Ensel?
Here.
Councilor McFarland?
Present.
Councilor Kretzer?
Here.
I'd like to begin very briefly with my appreciation for a great holiday lighting again. The tree looks beautiful this year, and I think we had a really good number of floats, but what I really like is how attractive the floats were this year. We did some really nice jobs fixing them up, and I think you were mentioning earlier on that the town of Plattsburgh, I think again, won the best float. I think they've won that in the past too, haven't they?
I think they may have won it last year too.
Did they? I thought they did, yeah. Anyway, they usually have very good floats, and everybody did a really nice job. Weather was perfect. You really outdid yourself. So thank you very much, Ms. Bowers. That's all I have for today.
Resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of the Common Council held on November 29th, 2018, be approved and placed on file among the public records of the city clerk's office.
Moved by Councilor Armstrong.
So moved.
Second by Councilor Dowdle. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now.
Resolved that the payrolls of the various departments of the city of Plattsburgh for the week ending December 5th, 2018 in the amount of $536,754.30 are authorized and allowed, and the mayor and the city clerk are hereby empowered and directed to sign warrants drawn on the city chamberlain for the payment thereof.
Moved by Councilor Dowdle, second by Councilor Ensel. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. You have your reports in your packets. Let's please go around and ask for any committee reports, beginning with Councilor Kretzer and Governance Strategy City Operations.
Well, we had our meeting just previous to the council meeting and the work session. We moved items from the resolution. We had just very simple reports from the city clerk's office. We talked about some progress and ongoing progress that Councilor Armstrong and myself, as well as some city managers, are coming with conversations with OpenGov about some strategic planning and budgeting software that could potentially help streamline some processes in the city. Councilor Armstrong, what did I miss?
We decided to meet about the cryptocurrency moratorium, and Councilors McFarland and I have arranged a time.
Great, that's it.
Thank you. City Infrastructure, Councilor Ensel.
We will be meeting next week, and I anticipate having a pretty full agenda. We have a couple of items that we need to discuss at length. That's it.
Thank you. Finance and Budget, Councilor Kelly is not in attendance tonight. Who's the co-chair? Is it Councilor McFarland? Councilor Ensel, do you have anything to add for that committee?
No, we have no report.
Public Safety, Councilor Dowdle.
No report.
Plattsburgh Public Library, Councilor Armstrong.
No updates.
And MLD, Board President, Councilor McFarland.
No updates at this time.
Thank you. Resolved, the reports as listed are hereby ordered received, and any written reports are placed on file among the public records of the city clerk's office. Moved by Councilor Armstrong, second by Councilor Ensel. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. No correspondences at this time. I do have a recommendation for a board member, but I'll be presented in business later on in the meeting. Please continue.
Resolved that the bills lodged by the Common Council for the week ending December 7th, 2018 in the amount of $1,780,856.62 are authorized and allowed, and the mayor and the city clerk are hereby empowered and directed to sign warrants drawn on the city chamberlain for the payment thereof.
Moved by Councilor Ensel, second by Councilor Dowdle. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This is an opportunity for anybody in the public to please come and address the council. At this time, we ask you to confine your comments to agenda items only. There will be another public opportunity at the end of the meeting as well. Seeing none, let's continue.
Motion to remove item 7A from the table.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Armstrong, second by Councilor Ensel. Discussion, or all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Discussion on the item itself.
I believe we tabled this for a considerable period of time so that we could include the management compensation package from last week.
Correct.
I'm ready to move forward.
Could I hear again why that's being included in the handbook, the manager's package?
When we looked at the Saratoga Springs model, which we modeled ours off of with their permission, they had those policies in there. So in an effort to try to replicate what they had done and have all of our various policies in one place so everybody knows exactly where to look for whatever the current document is, I thought it wise to include that there. I really will appreciate having everything in one place because it's been so confusing over the last 6 months trying to figure out what the various things are and then having to go look at resolutions, etc. So,
But the various union contracts will not be included in it?
They wouldn't be because the preamble says that that document does not at all supersede anything that's already in a union contract. So since the manager's contract isn't in a union contract, it has to be put somewhere. Is that correct? Further discussion? Roll call.
Councilor Armstrong?
Yes.
Councilor Dowdle?
Yes.
Councilor Ensel?
Yes.
Councilor McFarland?
Yes.
Councilor Kretzer?
Yes.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the Common Council approves the City Chamberlain to approve the capital project resolution for the Glens Falls National Bank parking lot H5110.65 in the amount of $500,000 funded through the parking lot fund or fund number 3.
Moved by Councilor Armstrong, second by Councilor Dowdle. Discussion?
Yes. The parking lot fund or fund number 3. Could I have clarification on both of those? We heard earlier there's about $120,000, is that correct?
That's right.
In the parking lot fund?
Right.
And that money was derived from where?
Special assessment district fees.
Okay. So is that applicable to this $500,000?
Wasn't intended to use that balance towards this. It's intended to borrow the $500,000 internally.
Okay.
And then return that within a year through ban or serial bonding.
Is that fund number 3? Is that
Parking lot fund is number 3.
It says the parking lot fund or fund number 3.
Right.
Are
That's
they,
just
They're one and the same.
a restatement.
okay, so they are.
It's always, everybody always has confusion about what the parking lot fund is. It's fund number 3 in your reports, like in your mayor's budget report.
Are there other options to fund this parking lot other than what we just heard? Any grants?
Is there potential for financial restructuring board money to be applied to this? But we'll have to determine if the state's willing to do that.
Will that be pursued?
Yeah.
Would this have any impact on our cash flow or anything along those lines?
It's $500,000. So, yeah.
And what would this be used for? This is for demolishing the Glens Falls?
The purchase of the lot, of the property.
Oh, okay.
The building and the lot.
Yep.
And then the lot itself would be additional funds?
No, the entire parcel and all improvements are being purchased for $500K.
No, but you're talking about
About,
the
there would
establishment
be
of the
additional
new
funds
lot?
for demolition and so on.
Yeah, the 500 is strictly for the purchase of the property. Additional demolition funds would be additional funding.
And those funds would be same formula?
Well, the contract for the purchase of the property has already been signed. That was brought up before the council
Correct.
months ago. So this
Right.
is just to secure funding for that.
This is to secure funding and,
Correct.
This is to create a capital project,
Right.
to track the cost for it, because it's going to be an asset of the city, and to put the funding in the right place, and for the board to approve the funding to purchase the property.
Has this been the thought all along on how to finance this? Was the capital project from day one? Was this?
The city always creates a capital project to buy an asset, or to improve an asset, upgrade an asset. That's what we always do. It's not part of operational spending, it's part of capital spending.
Okay, so since the parking was to be self-funded, basically pay for itself, this wouldn't be included in that then, would it?
The debt service will be.
So this would then determine parking rates, I would think that would result, it would feed into what would we establish for parking rates?
Yeah, the debt service payments would be a consideration when determining parking rates.
but the
So-
reimbursement of the application of funds to repay the debt that we are planning to incur, what are the sources that you're anticipating will contribute to that?
The special assessment district fees and parking fees.
Mhm. And do you have any clear projections about the extent to which that those will help mitigate these costs?
We have little historical data to base any assumptions upon. As the parking program and parking enforcement ramps up, we can certainly extrapolate out, but those decisions are also going to be dependent upon the recommendations of the Parking Advisory Committee and ultimately the council's decision whether or not to implement those recommendations.
Because I think we were anticipating generating about $90,000 of revenue from parking enforcement. Was that-
Yes, that's from enforcing the existing signage. That did not take into account any possible paid parking system being implemented later.
Okay.
But parking enforcement fees are part of fund number one, the general fund.
Right.
Right,
Okay, that's enforcement for parking fines.
right.
Has there been?
Parking fees for
Yes.
parking is something that's gonna stay as a revenue item within the parking fund, fund number 3.
Was there not discussion to end the special district funding? I thought that was something that we thought would go away.
I think it was a recommendation from Carl Walker, that potentially moving to the new program, we would then face, potentially if we wanted to phase out that special district.
I think the parking committee that you recently constituted and you're now appointing is going to be analyzing these various scenarios. I think that you've come up with a number of alternative funding sources to make this pay for itself, but you're probably unwilling to commit right now because the committee hasn't sat down and actually done its deliberations to choose amongst the various options.
Correct.
But I think there is one thing we all agree on is that nothing is going to be coming out of the general fund for this. This is from some sort of new revenue source.
Has a closing date or anything been scheduled yet, Dean?
Not set in stone, but about 2 weeks from now.
So nothing out of the general fund, and it'll all be
Yeah, Richard,
hatched. it'll be patched in place to pay.
Yeah, if you figure a 20-year bond for
Bond.
$500,000, $25,000 a year, plus interest, say $3,500, so $28,000 a year would have to be generated as additional fees or taken out of the special assessment to pay for the debt service.
Richard, earlier in the governance committee meeting, you mentioned that we would kind of be transferring funds from different areas to hold over until this was bonded or so on. Is that
internal borrowing?
Internal borrowing, so we would then in essence having to pay ourselves interest as well?
Yeah, interest is 0.1%, so it's negligible.
Is that common practice?
Sure. But the key is to repay within 1 year, according to local finance laws.
Are you at liberty to talk about where exactly these funds would be drawn from?
I'd have to look and see where the best option is. Okay.
All right.
And also not to compromise any state laws, such as you can't use sewer rents for other than sewer purposes, type of thing.
Right.
And then again, it would definitely impact cash flow by.
It's $500,000, so.
Yeah, so.
You gotta find cash somewhere.
Yeah.
Where's the likely place you'd look, or would you rather not say? from
I
here?
have to look at it, take a look at where's the best option for us right now.
So we're gonna rob Peter to pay Paul?
Internal borrowing isn't really robbing. You know, when you
Okay.
figure that you're just using money that's sitting idle and that's gonna get the same interest paid back as our bank interest that's paid on the account where it's coming from. And at 0.1%, it's a negligible amount of interest.
But we don't have any money sitting idle, do we?
Sure. We have funds here and there.
And this would be the planned parking replacement for, I guess, during Durkee Street redevelopment. This is what would alleviate potentially major parking concerns, would be the use of this lot. Wasn't that the plan?
That is the intention, yes.
Yep.
So if we weren't pursuing this, those funds we just made reference to, they would be up for grabs for something else?
Yes.
How much after, if this flies, how much would we then have sitting around?
Well,
I think that
if
was
you look
your
at the monthly report that I send you about the bank balances, the city has 29 bank balances. And the total cash that's there, roughly $26 million. So it depends on where we're going to take it from and where we're allowed to take it from.
And that's all state regulated? and-
Yeah.
Okay.
Local finance law requires.
Oh.
Right.
Hmm.
So where surpluses exist, we can borrow them internally, and if we return them within a year with interest, we're within the law, and that's what we've typically been doing for the 12 years. And, you know, once we pull together enough funds that we know have to be financed, we'll go out for a bond anticipation note or for a serial bond. Usually we have to wait for a serial bond to be at a level that makes sense that the market will want to buy it.
Is there anything anticipated beyond this? 500,000, anything else anticipated that we might be looking at between?
Demolition costs for the building, improvement costs for the entire parking area.
Okay, and beyond this parking lot? We
There
just
are
don't-
no definitive plans to purchase any additional properties at this time. So the cost that we're looking at would be specific to the Glens Falls parcel.
Okay, all right. And
So we
specific,
would have to also bond out, in all likelihood, the demolition, any asbestos abatement, and
Sure.
everything else.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why we create a capital project, we provide it for additional spending, we accumulate the costs, and when we know we have a total project cost, that's the amount that we would bond to fund the capital project. To reimburse the internal borrowing that we're doing for the initial spending.
We did a project, not quite this scope, with the highway oil building, as you recall, about a year ago with Restore New York funds. As you may recall, we have $1 million Restore New York grant, which is going to primarily be used in conjunction with some of the MLD activities. But one hope would be to find a suitable contractor that can do that, Restore New York, and also be able to take care of some of these needs as well, do them all at once, and hopefully realize some economies of scale by doing it that way. So this is a project that Mr. Miller and Mr. Tracy have been working on together as well.
Because as I recall, that highway oil, it ended up costing us an additional $40,000 on top of. We
City
thought,
raised $54,000 in grant money, and I think it cost an additional $8,000 for the property improvements that were above and beyond the scope of the work. To make it a green area and put in benches or concrete pads.
I remember we had a lot of discussion about the high additional cost, right? Okay.
Because it originally wasn't supposed to be a green area, but then it was converted to a green area, so that cost more. But we did get $54,000 from the state to fund demolition and rehabilitation of the property.
And that's what we're hoping for this as well.
Pardon me?
And that's what we're hoping for the bank as well,
Yes.
Any further discussion? Well, I typically don't, but I'll also be announcing my abstention from the for reasons of conflict. Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
No.
Counselor Ensel?
No.
Counselor McFarland?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
Failure to reach 4 votes.
Motion fails.
Please continue.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the Common Council approves the City Chairman to approve the capital project resolution for the WRRF mitigation 8130.64 in the amount of $200,000 funded through the Sewer Capital Reserve.
Moved by Councilor Armstrong, second by Councilor Ensel. Discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor McFarland?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the Common Council authorizes the execution of the November 27, 2008 CDM Smith WRRF mitigation basis of design proposal on a time and expense basis not to exceed $113,400. The source of funds will be the sewer reserve.
Moved by Councilor Ensel, second by Councilor Dowdle. Discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor McFarland?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
I'd like to hand down the appointment of Reginald Carter as an alternate member of the Planning Board for 5 years, beginning on December 7th, 2018, expiring July 26, 2023. Roll call, please.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor McFarland?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
Chief of Police selected Levi Ritter to serve a 2-year term on the Plattsburgh Parking Advisory Committee to begin on December 7th, 2018, and expiring December 6, 2020.
Do we need just roll call?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
Counselor
just
Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor McFarland?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
Director of Community
can I make
Development
a motion
selects
to lump
Matthew
these
Miller to
together?
serve a 2-year term on
Can
the
I,
Plattsburgh.
excuse me, can I make a motion to take item G, H, and I, and group them together as one appointment?
Yeah, so you'd be filing motion to waive the reading and ratify.
Waive the reading and move forward, G, H, and I.
Good job, Peter.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor McFarland?
Yeah.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
No travel requests at this time. Are there any resolutions for initial consideration, please? Seeing none, any new business or council reports? Counselor Donald.
I have a question, a few questions. We were getting reimbursement for snow removal on Route 9. Is that still being done? The state, I remember there was discussion that annually that was submitted to have reimbursements come in, and we were getting a tidy sum of money for getting reimbursed.
No reimbursement for snow removal on the 9. No.
Is that something that?
We do shared services for cleanup of Route 9, for a section of it, we work with the town.
But I remember hearing we were either getting $4,500 or $45,000 annually that was applied for through the engineering office, and we were getting that annually. And I just didn't know if that followed.
I'm not familiar with that at all.
Because I was thinking when we went, last time when we were discussing the streetscapes and all through it, it came to mind that we were getting reimbursed for that. I'm just wondering if that's followed through.
I'll look that up and see if we've been receiving it in the past years, so I'm not familiar with
I
it.
actually think it, okay.
I'll look it up. It's either 4,500 or 45,000.
It was one or the other. I know it's an extreme number, but it was one or the other. Okay.
We'll look it up and report back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Council.
And how are the grants that we were, from the Financial Restructuring Board, are they all in place, the grants that are coming our way?
Can you be specific?
Well, let's see, we're gonna get a grant award up to $1 million to assist with the city implementing,
Crosswalks and curb cuts?
well,
Cost saving measure.
I think it was, yes,
Yes.
for the Clinton County to invest in similar payroll and time and attendance, IT, hosting by the county takeover, assessing, dispatch, and other shared services, extend the city's electrical grid to its DPW facility, continue contemplation of co-locating the DPW and MLD facilities.
So as you can see, some of those items haven't been completed yet, so I don't think we've requisitioned the state for that yet.
No, we haven't applied for any of the funding.
Any of these?
No, not yet. We're gathering costs for the move for finance, and I think we finally have all those put together, so that'll be the first reimbursement request we send to that office. We'll see how that goes. I don't know when they actually are allowed to reimburse. It sounds like it's only annually during the month of March, is what we've been told.
And we were gonna get a reimbursement for the demolition of at least one of the MLD 9 buildings. Are we gonna take a building down to get, I think it was $100,000?
There's $140,000 that is built into the Dock Street grant to the DRI that was meant to serve as the city's match for the $1 million Restore New York grant, which was intended to knock down the MLD buildings.
And that
To
also,
my knowledge, the Financial Restructuring Board had no hand in that particular project.
and, let's see, and the MLD situation, where are we at with that move? I understand it's a little more complicated than I was told at last week's meeting.
Is Bill still here? Do you want me to take that, Bill, or?
Go ahead.
To keep to the schedule in the $1 million Restore New York grants that requires demolition to begin within a certain date of the award announcement, Bill Tracy and MLD are, as of the first of the year, I believe, beginning to move their administrative operations back into the 6 Miller Street building with an intended date of completion, I believe, of June 1st, 2019, at which point the work and the studies necessary to prep not all of the MLD buildings, but the ones that they can vacate, those studies can begin once that move back to 6 Miller Street is complete.
Okay. And according to the MLD minutes of August 30th, we're getting deeds corrected for the property to be sold, which was Miller Street. The planning board was scheduled for the end of September. I believe it didn't get there till November 16th. And there needed to be approval before the deeds can be finalized. Then I heard last week the deeds were still being worked on. Was there a delay in getting that to the planning board?
Oh, no, it went to the planning board in September, but they had questions, so it went to the planning board in October. They were satisfied with what we brought, and those deeds are being changed as we speak.
But we didn't get approval, correct?
We got approval.
We did.
Yeah, we're done with that.
All right, and on November 1st, we passed a resolution, the Common Council affirms it encourages the mayor's intent to meet and negotiate with representatives from the town of Plattsburgh and any involved school district for up to 30 days. Where are we with that?
We asked for a meeting to discuss under provisions for GML, which?
706.
706.
Uninhabited city-owned property. There's a provision for the town to consent, for the adjoining municipality to consent to the annexation request.
And they chose not to work with us on that. Instead, they recommended we take the next route under GML, the route that you go once this step fails. So that's what we're pursuing this time. That's GML.
Various other sections, Article 17 of the municipal law.
They refused to meet with us?
They refused to meet under the terms of resolving and discussing under the GML provision that Mr. Schneider just described.
Oh, because the response that I obtained November 2nd, it reads, "Dear Mayor Reed, this should sound familiar as it was communicated to Dean Schneller via Jim Coffey some time ago after Dean made some inquiries. The approach of the town concerning this matter is different from the approach which you suggested. The culture in the town is such that all board members, including the supervisor, become deeply and intimately involved with all decision-making at every stage. I'd also point out that the town will in all likelihood not agree to any annexation unless there was a broad-ranging and exhaustive public hearing on all issues that would be precipitated by the annexation, including seeker-related issues. A public hearing must allow all stakeholders, including the citizens of the town and city school district, town fire district, city fire department, and other party that would be impacted, to attend public hearings and set forth their comments. The criterion for annexation is whether the annexation would be an overall public interest. The town of Plattsburgh is committed to making a comprehensive review of all the materials and input from the various stakeholders. We have a responsibility to our stakeholders and wish to hear directly from them. If, as you propose, the annexation is good for all, then, after the comprehensive review and public hearings, the town may be supportive. I look forward to moving forward and all involved." That doesn't sound like they refused to meet with us. Or am I not interpreting this correctly?
I think that affirms to exactly what I'd said a moment ago.
I don't think it does. I think it's another interpretation, and I don't know why we would think that they're not cooperating. Because I mean, I'm looking at the legal fees we're spending monthly for all this. And then I heard you in Wiry about 2 months ago indicating, when you were questioned about the annexation, that there was discussions going on and we were close to a resolve. And here we are spending all this money on legal fees. Then I read this that I foiled from the town today, as I did your email to the town supervisor, and I don't see why this can't go on with some sort of meeting or some type of resolve before we spend any more money on legal fees.
So what they've just described, that public hearing process is the next step. So if you read section 706 of the general municipal law, it says if the annexing municipality makes the request, the annexed municipality may consent without the need for a public hearing.
But where is this a refusal to meet with us?
It's a statement that they want to go the next route rather than this more expeditious route.
So I could see where, they want to involve our city fire department, the school districts. I can see why they want to include the city fire department, for one thing. I would think there could be some resolve to this if this was answered. Like, who would develop this meeting to get things going?
And that's the path that we're taking. Having failed under GML 706, we are now pursuing that path.
Which path?
The next level, and GML 4 something or other that requires us to do this if we aren't able to resolve it under GML 706.
So is there a response to this, to that effect?
Yep, we're putting together a response because this opens up a more complicated approach than we had hoped.
Because this is November 2nd, and here we are, December what? It's 6th. I mean, that's a long time to provide a response. Just my thoughts. Thank you.
The response is the formal petition. That's what the response will be.
And when is that forthcoming?
It's forthcoming.
What? Thank you.
Any further new business or council reports? An opportunity for the public to please come forward and address the council on any issue of mutual concern. A motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Armstrong, second by Councilor McFarland. Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Battle?
Yes.
Counselor Enzel?
Yes.
Counselor McFarland?
Yes.
Counselor Spencer?
Yes.
Thank you, folks, for coming tonight.
Dean? Did you, I'm gonna meet with Pat and Peter on Monday evening. Do you have some time to verify
You can
what
either be
the
there 5 minutes or 2
rules
hours.
are?
Earlier is better. Do you have a time selected?
At 5 o'clock.
Okay.
You know, okay,
Can you shoot me an email or something? Or
Sure.
This friend?
Or tell me when I'm here. So